So, Sacramento, Miami, Los Angeles Lakers, Los Angeles Clippers. Some underdogs taking care of business in game one. Miami coming out on top against Milwaukee. Not really sure what happened there. I didn't watch that game. It looks like Giannis went down with a back injury. From a distance, I want to say that it's probably not a huge deal, but that's a very, no proximity there. What do I know? I just want him to come back. Want these guys to fight through their injuries. It looks like everybody's dealing with something. Morant lands on his hand. Davis has his elbow, his right bicep, I think it was, that he was reaching for. Chris Middleton's missed a lot of time. Don't know if he's 75% or if he's 100%. Drew Holiday's been great all year for Milwaukee, but you need your star player. You need your MVP finalist. So, depending on Giannis' status, obviously that hangs in the balance because Miami can definitely make this a fair fight if the Greek Freak is absent. Also, Sacramento disrupting Golden State. I don't know if Golden State, I feel like they are definitely capable of making each game as close as it was in game one. Sacramento is not going to get that lucky. They're not going to get Trey Lyles and Malik Monk and Harrison Barnes making all their threes like they're, the prime Splash Brothers, from 2016. They're not always going to be playing like that, so I don't think they'll be able to keep up with Golden State. Of course, game one, like I said, I've talked about Golden State a lot, about how they are going to figure it out because they are going to go through the process of getting familiar with the arena that they're in. Not as much travel. You're just playing the same team over and over again. It's not like you're on the road playing the Pistons and then the Hornets and then the Rockets and you'll lose 2 out of the 3 of a bad team. Sacramento's not a bad team anymore. But anyway, yeah. This Clippers game, the Suns, I don't know if I could say it was more so the Clippers looking good because I think that they just had an average performance. Kawhi played great in the absence of George. But the Suns, man, they are just very discombobulated. I do think that they are better than the Clippers and that they're still going to win. But everybody has to know their role, and not everybody can be the hero. Chris Paul needs to do more offensively. KD has to have the ball in his hands at the end. Booker has to step down from whatever position he thinks he's in, because I look at that guy and I just think, man, this guy, I don't know who he thinks he is, but this guy looks like he's very much the guy who has to be taking the last shot because he has been around. He's been in Phoenix for longer than KD, but when a guy like him shows up, you can't there's too much ego going around, and that is not going to get the Suns where they want to go because there is no planet where Durant and Booker pretty much who do the same job, except Durant's just more offensively polished and he has more experience and he is more capable. Not to discredit Booker's game, but you've got to learn your role and you've got to be able to do that. And also the Suns bench was invisible. So anyway, Alec Manoa. It's tough being Alec Manoa when you got the game one, you got your first home opener, you got the first game of the season as well, and then you're being matched up on Sunday, against Shane McClanahan, who I think is top 5 best pitcher in baseball. Things can definitely not go your way, especially when the offense is teeter-tottering and it's a short sample size, but they recently just lost to Tampa Bay. They beat them twice before that, so they were able to capture a couple games, but then they lose in dramatic fashion. And then Houston starting off rough again. Gosman 7 runs in the first inning. It's just tough. It's tough to witness this because you know how good these guys are, but the offense is inconsistent. This is just like when the Blue Jays. No, this is just kind of a general summary of how I view the offense of the Blue Jays, like last year when they had 28 runs against the Red Sox. And I was just thinking, can we spread the wealth here? Can we replicate this at just a fraction? 6 runs, 5 runs, a good average like that? Can we please just replicate it? It's just like I don't understand why it has to be so feast or famine or appear that way. It's like, a 6-4 win or a 9-8 win, and then it's like a 6-1 loss or something like that. It has begun Monday, April 17th. The perfect Bruins are playing the imperfect Florida Panthers. 65 wins, whatever it was. Never been done. They lost a few, but I mean that's not the point here. The point is that they've had 65 wins. No team has ever done that. So you could say out of the 100 teams, or how many hundreds and hundreds of thousands, I don't know how many teams there have been, but the 2023 Boston Bruins, now that's a special team. So in that sense, they are the perfect team. But yeah, what is going to happen? There's so many. So in case you don't know what's going on in the NHL playoffs, there's a lot at stake for 3 teams in particular. Okay, a lot is riding on this season and the outcomes thereof. If nothing good happens, or if a team maybe doesn't make the Stanley Cup final, I think just making the Stanley Cup final is good enough for some teams, but for some teams they need to win now. They have to win now. And in case you're not wondering, and this is also helpful to me because I'm probably not going to watch the Hurricanes and the Islanders. I don't care. Remember back when Bo Horvat was being called, oh yeah, this guy's going to score 50 goals this year? And I think he got traded to the Islanders in January. He had about 30, 31, and he only finished the year with 38. So the Islanders, that's basically their season. Everything looks good, and then it just kind of disappears in March. Yeah, obviously I care about Tampa winning. I think that it's going to be a close series. I don't want to just have to judge and jump right away and say, okay, well, Toronto is the better regular season team, therefore they're going to be better than Tampa Bay. That's just not the case. I've never stood by that. I think that it's unfair to say that people are only judging this by the metrics of the regular season, because that's kind of all we have to go off of here. There's nothing else that we can say. It's no discredit to people that are saying, well, okay, Boston Bruins, they had a great regular season, that's just going to translate over to the playoffs, and they're going to go 16-0, and they're going to win the Stanley Cup. So everything's great. I mean, don't worry about it. That's like these betting websites. Just jump on one of those, okay? Just jump on a betting website, and it'll tell you who the better team is. But that's not what I'm doing here, okay? Yeah, I want Edmonton to win, definitely, though, because they are in a huge position right now. 3 players with over 100 points, 2 defensemen that everybody wants. Simon Skinner's locked up the cage for the last 2 weeks, not letting in anything. Is McDavid going to win in any other scenario? He's got a pretty much an all-star team formulated around him. All those guys could go. So, what? The guy is 26 years old, okay? Over 154 points. The Oilers are not going to be in a position like this in a very weak Western Conference. There is no threat. Go to the final. Challenge the Bruins. I believe that they can take them down. It's also like this with Toronto, Dubas is going all in. The moves that he's made over the offseason, adding McCabe, Shen, Lafferty, Achari, O'Reilly. So many guys were added to Toronto. And now, Matthew Knies is coming in and out. I don't even know, man. Matt Murray, the goalie, having to recall Joe Wall. Man. But imagine if McDavid and Matthews walked this offseason. What is going on with our great Canadian cities? I really hope Bedard goes to Montreal. But something is going on here. McDavid cannot win in Edmonton yet. Austin Matthews can't win in Toronto yet. If McDavid can't get past Los Angeles Kings, how is it anything gonna come in the next year? Yeah, it looks like just keep the core together and we'll run it back. McDavid and Draisaitl have been running it back. Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner have been running it back and falling short every single year. Imagine 2023 MVP from this year and 2022 MVP from last year. What is it with, man, these Canadian cities? But yeah, like I was saying with the betting, it's just It's stupid to suggest that because a team is better in the regular season, they're going to be the best team in the playoffs. I understand from a spectator's point of view, all you have is the regular season as a metric. But I will not be sitting on here on my show talking about how, yeah, the Bruins are definitely plus 365. Florida's definitely under minus 120. Minnesota's definitely under minus 75. And, Colorado was a plus 125. And Seattle was a minus 125 betting odds. Blah. Nope, none of that. That's not what's going to go on, all right? Go ahead and talk about that. You do not need an expert to tell you anything about which team is better. I'm just not going to go on talk about, oh, yeah, so the better team is going to win and the underdog is the team that's not as good. You don't need an expert to tell you the Boston Bruins are the best team, okay? Maybe a little bit closer of a situation. Oh, yeah, Toronto Maple Leafs definitely under 125 to win Tampa Bay plus 200. Therefore, it's like that's supposed to tell you the outcome. It's, there's a lot of intangibles. It's not just the eye test. It's not just like, I watched one game of Tampa Bay and they didn't look good. Oh, and I watched one game Toronto. They won 6-1. They looked amazing. Therefore, I'm probably just gonna vote for Toronto there. That's what we're gonna do. So none of that. None of that. Ever since what? It's been almost 10 years now that I've been preaching. The regular season and the playoffs are completely different animals. And if you're the 16th seed, like to resort back to the good old days, back to the 1-8 formula, when you actually had a 1 and a 16. Well, I guess, I don't know. Depends on the conference now. Who's finishing up with the least amount of points. Still would end up probably being Winnipeg or Seattle or Florida or the Islanders. But anyways, 16th seed and the first seed, they both have the same amount of chance. Everybody starts from zero. We're all just starting the season over again. That's what's happening. So, yeah.